Hey there, so we're gonna do something different in this video. Last week, I was out at WordCamp US in Portland, and I was, somewhere, and I was scrolling through YouTube, and a video from Imran over at Web Squadron hit my timeline or my feed or whatever in YouTube, and I thought it was a really interesting topic. I definitely have some opinions on kind of like the things that he shared, and he shared a video like a month ago as well. I'll kind of show you both these. These will all be linked in the description. But there was one kind of about like some WordPress creators get all the love. That was last month's, and then the most recent one was WordPress Cliques drama. Let's clear some things up. So they kind of go hand in hand. I would highly recommend you pause the video now and go watch those if you haven't. But what I want to do is I just want to go through this recent one. I'm literally just going to watch it through, and I'm just going to give some comments, just like kind of a live reaction. Really important before I do this. This is not to like actually like stir more drama. I've learned so much from Imran. He has been creating content for much longer than I have. And I literally remember in like 2018 when I would watch WP Toots, Imran, WP Crafter, Adam Prizer, and I was literally starting to build websites. So this is not like a personal thing or anything, but it is definitely, I have thoughts. And I know that a lot of other like creators that I talk to and just I think people of the community, and the timing is crazy, right? I was literally at a WordCamp while we're talking about like community and content creation and things like that. So I just had some really interesting things that I wanted to share and a perspective. And I figured this would be kind of an interesting way to do it. So you may love it, you may hate it. Let me know in the comments and with the like and dislike if you hate this or love this. But I'm just going to go through here. I'm just going to give kind of my unfiltered thoughts. Like I said, I watched this about a week ago. But I want to come back to it. So without further ado, I'm just going to play this. I'm going to stop it as I, kind of think. Maybe I'll real quickly, I'll just do like 1.25, just so we don't, watch like in its entire length. We can go a little faster. But okay, let's dive in.
This video is a follow-on from my WordPress Clique video, the one that sparked quite a bit of conversation. Some people agreed with me, some got defensive, and a few even said I was just being negative for attention or seeking publicity. So today I want to clear the air and I want to be absolutely clear about where I'm coming from. Now, this isn't about stirring drama, it's not about chasing views, and it's definitely not about jealousy. I don't need to rant to get publicity. And by the way, I'm doing really well. I've got my YouTube channel, but I've got tons of other sources of income, and I don't just rely on web design, this channel, or selling courses. What I want to do here...
I like that flex there. I also like the background. I really need to do something better with mine. I like that learn, build, repeat. Yeah, keep going.
It is have an honest conversation about something that exists in every industry, not just WordPress. I'm talking about the cliques.
Right away here, this is going to be a common theme. This is a hard video for me to watch in a sense, or like a hard topic for me to think about, because this literally is everything that Imran talks about in this is literally human problems. It's not even WordPress problems. It's not the WordPress community. It's just being a human. You want to naturally follow things that like you feel comfortable and familiar with and be around people that you feel comfortable and familiar with. It's the reason we have cultures. It's the reason we have countries. It's the reason we have, like literally everything else. Again, it's like from high school onward, or like grade school onward, you just have groups that you're comfortable in. I mean, it's very utopian and, lovely to think that, oh, we can everyone in there in the entire world could feel so comfortable with one another, like random person A to random person B, as well as they do like their own parents or friends, like close friends or whatever. I don't think that's realistic whatsoever, but it's a nice concept. But I have to say that right off the bat because I know that that's kind of the whole art. It's the whole core of this. Let's get back to it.
They're real. They influence who gets seen, who gets promoted, and who gets ignored. And if we don't talk about it, nothing changes. So I'm going to try and break it down point by point. And along the way, I'm going to share some personal experiences because I've seen all of this play out firsthand. Podcasts should be a gold mine. They should be where we get fresh ideas, honest conversations, practical insights, and many podcasts are really, really good. But we can't deny that many of them do drift into echo chambers as well. I remember listening to a pretty big podcast a while back, and the episode
Another common theme that I kind of like wish would be a little different is there is no name mentioning throughout this, which again, I'm not trying to start shit. I'm just saying that like without actually giving concrete details, it's very difficult to know like what we're talking about because everything is like super vague. And just real quick on the podcast thing, like the echo chamber comment is like again, I I understand what we're doing here. Like, but I feel like there's not really a way. Like, we're trying to change literal, natural human behavior with a conversation. So I'm not exactly sure the solution. But again, I'll continue.
was over an hour long. And do you know how much of it actually related to building with WordPress or solving client problems? About 5 minutes. The rest of it was in jokes, self promotion, and people talking about how long they'd known each other. And I thought to myself, if I were a freelancer just trying to figure out how to get my next client, or a small agency owner trying to keep up with WordPress developments, how much value would I get from this? The answer? Absolutely none. Now, when I say
I again, without context, I'm not really sure exactly what we were. What that was what was the title of that podcast? Was it like, hey, how to build an agency, and then none of it because that's a stupid content strategy. So I'm with you there if that's the case.
that, the counter argument is always going to be podcasts are not tutorials, they're conversations. Yeah, I get that. But conversations about what? If it's the same people saying the same things, the average WordPress professional is kind of left out.
Oh, I'm right in the middle of a transition there. Sorry. The same people saying the same things. Like, again, I feel like everything that I'm going to talk about in this has nothing to do with Imran or WordPress because like this is just a microcosm of the entire world and specifically content in and of itself. Like there is no realm of like everything that is being created on the internet right now is just like this. Like Alex Hormozy only talks about business shit, like constantly. He talks consistently about the same shit. Gary Vee talked about this years ago. He's like, what do you want me to say? You want me to make shit up? It's like, I only know this, like I know this domain, this vertical extremely well. Do you want me to like make things up and just start talking about random stuff? So I'm not sure if that was exactly the point that Imran was talking about there in that because I am empathetic to the idea of like, you know, if you say that you're going to do X, Y, Z in a piece of content and then you just, you know, dick around and joke around and do whatever and you don't like, obviously that's not good, but but you're not going to get anywhere if you constantly mislead your audience like that. So that's a self-fulfilling prophecy anyway. It doesn't really matter. Yeah. So I just, yeah, you have to say the same things. You're literally only talking about one thing. In a lot of cases like this, if you're in that realm of content creation. So, okay.
I've never been to
That was WordCamps losing meaning.
WordCamp, but I have been to meetups or other WordPress.
And wait, we got to go back.
I've never been to WordCamp, but I have.
Okay, so I'm going to come back to that. Again, not a thing at Imran here. He's just the person making this video. If we're talking WordPress, like that's a pretty big deal. Like if I've only been to 2, okay? And I feel like I am like in the community now. Like it's the most accepting, most inclusive situation I have like ever been a part of. It's almost jarring how willing people are. It's almost like, I'll get to this. It's almost concerning how willing people are to like accept you into this particular community. So we got to come back to that.
Have been to meetups or other WordPress related events.
Also, meetups are similar, but they're not the same thing. I had a phase. Brendan O'Connell got me into the meetup scene. I met a lot of great people that I also see at WordCamps into that scene over the past couple years. And I have a lot of thoughts on the whole meetup situation. I think it was popping way back in the day. It must have been, and now it's like a little bit less. But it's still like, that is like such a strange thing to me too. It's like people coming together, leading these meetups, effectively not really getting much like tangible monetary business value out of them, but just doing it for the love of helping people. It's really great to see. And it's, you know, again, it's not a lot in person anymore. I mean, there's some in person obviously, but like a lot of it's digital. So that's another thing that I could talk about for days if anybody cares about that type of thing.
And they are brilliant for the community, especially local WordCamps, you know, because you might meet people, you get chatting, you share ideas, you're going to feel like you're part of something. The problem I have is with the flagship WordCamps. They sometimes feel more about positioning and branding than about WordPress itself. Big sponsors, familiar names, headline speakers.
I mean, local local word camps, I actually haven't been to any local word camps because there's not one in Pittsburgh anymore, as of right now. I could see how that could be definitely helpful. The fact, though, that, like, a flagship is not helpful because it's about branding, positioning, and there's, like, the same companies and things, strange argument to make, I feel like. Let's keep
And I
going.
find the majority of the talks, they're basically like a sales pitch.
Not true at all. You're not allowed you're I got a hard stop on that one. You're not allowed to sell at these things. If anything, the argument is that they're too, like, silly. Like, they're, you know, like, it's like how, you know, Disney or somebody, like, did something with their website, which is like, okay, this is outside the stratosphere of what people would actually be thinking about. The actual I've been last two WordCamps, okay? So I can't speak to that much, but the last two US WordCamps have been in Portland, and there have been a lot of, like, what I would classify as, like, not DIYers, but like general business agency owners and other people. Like, it's not a bunch of content creators that are going to this. It's not specifically just a bunch of product people that are going to this. It really is a lot of people that have either been in for a while or they're interested in the evolution of WordPress. Maybe they work for a company or they work for their own company. And yeah, I mean, it's just funny because I hear a lot of shit about the WordCamp talks, but I don't get any of them about being sales pitches. I have never heard that feedback whatsoever.
Dressed up as a keynote. People are going to clap, people are going to smile.
Unless he's talking about, like Imran, I'm sure you're gonna watch this. So, like, if you, please let me know. I'm happy to have a discussion too. I just, like I said, I wrote that comment and I was like, I might as well kind of like just give my thoughts, literally just because it was so fresh too, with the WordCamp coming on. It's definitely not a sales pitch. It's like the keynote. Maybe it's like a sales pitch in the way of like Matt Mullenweg saying what WordPress is doing. You're not allowed to do that. I mean, maybe on showcase day, you're allowed to do that a little bit more than the regular talks, but they won't let you do that.
But when you look at some of the people in the crowd, I bet there's going to be some that are kind of bored and they're kind of wondering, why am I sat through a commercial? And when I have brought this up,
definitely people that are bored, but they're normally in the hallway too. They're like having chats about other stuff, which is extremely valuable. I know we like think about the hallway track as being potentially bad sometimes, but this is not a one size fits all thing. There's a lot of shit going on here, and there's a lot of different motivations and goals for people that are at these events.
In the past with some people, they will say, but WordCamp is all about the community. It's not just about the code and getting clients. And yeah, I agree. But if someone has traveled, they've paid money, they've taken time out their week, they're probably going to expect a little bit more than just networking. They're going to expect to get insights, knowledge, something that
Well, you can get insights and knowledge from networking, but I'm going to go off on a slight tangent. The problem with these in-person events, it's actually kind of completely backwards in my head right now, and I'm like hearing what I'm hearing, but I'm also like completely disagreeing with it. To me, maybe not everyone, the most valuable thing at this past one of these events, is literally the people. Bar none, most important, because you can't get that elsewhere. Like, you could have Zoom calls and you can have like chats with people. Like, I've developed relationships with people from digital communication. You cannot recreate the in-person stuff. You just can't. And I thought you could for a while. You cannot. You cannot recreate it. It's so it's so special that you can't recreate that part. So here's my thing. It's like, if I wanted to watch one of these talks, all these talks are recorded, okay? If I wanted to watch one of these talks back at WordCamp, oh, I missed Danny Sullivan's keynote about Google, okay? Oh man, I missed that. I'd love to watch. I can go on Google and I can watch it. I'm not going to get anything more out of that talk being in that room, unless maybe I have like a specific question and they take Q&A or something. Maybe I could go up to them afterwards, but that's kind of borderline what I was talking about, right? Like, you're actually building a little bit of a relationship with someone. So I hear what Imran's saying in this. I just don't think that's like the number one thing out of these events. They're in person. What's the differentiating factor between a talk on YouTube and a talk in person? It's the fact that you can interact with the people either around you, before, after, or the speaker. So it's not like, yes, sure, we want to get insights and everything like that, but the networking, the people, that's the key.
They can take home and learn from, rather than just a social club. Now, this is a really sticky issue. I'm talking about authority in WordPress. Some people will act like their opinion is law. Maybe because they work at Automatic, or they've been around forever, or they've built big plugins and they've sold businesses, and sure, they have
So that's definitely somewhat present, but I don't know how you fix that, because again, this is human nature. Like, some people are going to be like, first of all, I mean, there's a level of subjectivity, but there's also a level of objectivity that, like, at some point, like, yes, most of the world is gray, but there are some black and white stuff. Like, I mean, you know, the trouble is, like, when we start to confuse like emotion with the logical black and whiteness of things that are right and wrong, or workflows that are good and bad, or et cetera, or whatever. Like, I'm different than most people. I try to be like opinionated, but also, like, at the end of the day, I'm kind of like laissez-faire, almost like libertarian on like like, do whatever you want, man. It's like, I don't have the time or energy to like force you to do something. I'm not going to stop talking. Absolutely not. I'm going to keep saying what I think and what I'm learning and believing. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to be like authoritative to you. But I am going to establish some level of thought leadership for sure, just like Imran does, just like everyone else does. It's like, you say what you want, but then you let people actually make their own decisions. And some of those decisions are going to be bad, and some of those decisions are going to be good. And the self-approved authoritativeness, I mean, this goes into like deep psychological, philosophical stuff here. It's like, if you put out so much content, like Imran, I guarantee you Imran would tell you this if it was asked differently. It's like, Imran's got 150,000 subscribers. I have 6,000. Okay. Like, the level of confidence that I assume one has as they continue to rank up that ladder is nuts. Like, it's confidence in yourself. It's confidence in what you're saying. And then ultimately that ends up, pseudo leading into thought. Like, you're a thought leader. You're an authority on some level of something. Not saying you're like, everything, but that's where that goes. And that's what happens when people work at a large corporation and they have power, or they create a company or a product or whatever, and they make a lot of sales, or they sell it. So again, superhuman nature here, just using WordPress as the example, it seems like. So I'm not really sure of any solutions.
experience. But experience doesn't automatically mean you are right. I once sat in a panel where someone in the audience asked a question and someone from the panel dismissed their question. It was literally like, no, that's not how we do it. No, that's the old way. No. This is the new way of thinking. This is how we do things. And the room went quiet. The person in the audience just didn't know how to push back. And honestly, I couldn't blame them. Because if that had been me 5 or 10 years ago, I'd either have walked out or felt really small because an expert on the panel has just shut me down.
It's a crazy example because of the vaguity of that. I don't know if that's the right word, but the vague level of vagueness there. I mean, I get it though. Like, I understand, like, if you're asking a question to like one of your idols, or like somebody that you think is an expert, and you're like, how do I do this? And they say basically, fuck you. I get it, but it doesn't really sound like that's what happened. I can barely even comment on that because I don't know what actually transpired there. But if I could guess, it's like, if I asked somebody, like, are we I don't know, like, are we doing XYZ? And they're like, wouldn't you, I'm just kind of confused on this. Like, do you want, like, is the concept that you would want an expert to tell you how to do something, even if you're asking completely nonsense? Or do you want an expert to tell you, why are you even in the room? You know what I mean? Why are you in the room listening to an expert if you don't want their expertise? Now, again, I'm not saying that you have to agree with them all the time. Everybody is human. And I don't even have answers for a lot of stuff. I'm just kind of like trying to process it in real time too. But that just to me doesn't seem like, what do you want? Again, do you want to go back to the Gary V thing? You want me to make things up? Like, do you want people to make things up? Do you want them to just, I don't know. That's a hard example for
The
me to come
counter
up.
argument I hear from people is, well, that person on the panel earned their authority. Yeah, but authority doesn't mean silencing other perspectives.
I don't know what that means by silencing. I don't know if it means like totally shut it down. They literally said, "You're stupid. Don't ever ask a question again." I find that hard to believe, but I have no idea who it was, what the.
A new voice can highlight blind spots that veterans miss. And if we keep treating authority as dominance, new people won't.
That's a good point. Okay, but I do need to insert this here is like a lot of times when somebody has some level of authority or has some level of, that experience, they do get put on a pedestal. Like, and again, not a WordPress thing, a life thing, okay? But it's a two-way street. You can't expect, again, if we're all human, okay, and we remember that because it's hard to remember sometimes, you can't expect you can't expect empathy from the guy at the top without expecting empathy at the guy at the bottom, okay? So what I mean is like if you are coming at like the thought leader, you can't be, this is why I have like a problem with like revolutionary thinking sometimes. It's like, how do you think you're going to get anything done if you are trying to like attack the people with the power? It's like if you wanted, and again, I'm guilty of it sometimes, right? Because everybody likes to get a little radical. But like if you were going to actually do that, do you like the amount of, you have to, like the amount of force that you would have to incur or like dispense in order to make that happen is so much greater than the amount of like cunning and like tact that you would have to dispense if you were just trying to like maneuver your way in. Like all I'm saying is like empathy from both sides needs to happen. Like you can't, at the end of the day, everyone is human and you can't expect just one party to have that level of empathy, even though the one party has power, so they should be like the bigger person. It's like if you're a smaller person, you still need to realize like this person has been working their ass off doing whatever it is, and maybe you think they're an idiot and they're not entitled for the whatever they have going for them, or whatever. But like there still needs to be a level of empathy there. Like you need to at least appreciate the fact that regardless of how they got there, they are there, and then for your own benefit, you could like actually build rapport or something like that with them, and then get to where you want to go without force, so to speak. It's an abstract example.
Don't even try. I've seen plugins hyped up to the skies in the heavens, but they're actually quite buggy, clunky, unscalable. And I've seen small developers build genuinely brilliant solutions or code snippets and they get zero attention. Why? Because promotion isn't about quality. It's about connections and who paid the sponsorship money. Personally,
Ooh, maybe I don't know if I've exactly would word it like that because that seems a little interesting. Like sponsor, I don't even know where we're coming with the sponsorship money. Like obviously, there are probably bad products, again, not transcends WordPress, that get hyped up because they have money behind them, either by the funding or whatever. But again, I just feel like I keep coming back to this. It's like there's no way to create that. There's no way to create like a completely equal situation like that where somehow I put out a good product and then immediately everyone knows about it. Like in what world does that exist? Or maybe I'm misunderstanding. But like you can't that doesn't happen in any area of life. Maybe it's positioned wrong, maybe I'm interpreting wrong, very possible. But it almost sounds like I did a good thing. Like I created a good thing. Now everybody deserves to know about it because I did a good thing. It's like that's not how marketing works. And Imran knows this. I know, because he puts out 15 videos a day and they're all like quality like information. Like, it's not about you can't just go into your basement, build something great, and then expect everybody to know about it. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Now, I understand that not everybody has the time, skill set, or energy to like market the thing either. But again, that's life. That's not, I don't, like, this is, I feel this is borderline an unsolvable utopian ideal, because how does that happen? Maybe I guess I'm here to hear a solution, but I don't know.
I've developed loads of great snippets and tools and methods to help real people overcome real problems.
True.
But you know what? A lot of people won't hear about it. And I don't just want it to be about me. There's other people out there that have
Confused on that part, because he does put out a lot of videos and he has 150,000 subscribers. But it's true though. I mean, he's put out a lot of good stuff.
developed things. But unless you're a sponsor of an event or you're a big name, people just won't know about it. At the end of the day, visibility often beats quality. And if you're not in the right circle, your work will be invisible.
So there's two ways to interpret what Imran just said, because there is some level of truth to that. There's two ways to do it. There's either like say that and then potentially think of a solution. I don't remember the rest of the video, so we're obviously going to continue. I know this is getting long, but there's either one option is you say that and then you think of a solution, or you don't think of a solution and you just like sit in that situation and be like kind of upset or you're downtrodden. Or the other one is you go get in the circles. that's the other option. And that's easier said than done, but it's not impossible. And it's actually, again, I will reiterate this. I'm going full screen for this one. Oh, right here. This WordPress community, if you want to be in this WordPress community, this is one of the easiest communities to get into. It is so, because it is rooted in open source, inclusion, everything like that. There is not a lot of gatekeeping inherently built into this system, literally by design. Like, it's, like there's, I mean, again, we could have separate conversations on like all the intricacy, technical shit. Okay. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about if you just want to like be a part of the conversations and you want to, I feel like this is also like a little bit of a weird meta thing, right? It's like we're talking about like being included and everything like that, but also like really what is our core focus? What is our core reason that we want to be included? It's kind of monetary. Like everything we're talking about here is literally to scale your own business or to scale your own operation or whatever. So then it's like a weird thing where we're like, we're kind of like blending business and then like almost personal, not fulfillment, but like merit in a way. I don't know if you guys are getting that. It's like, which one are we talking about? You know what I mean? It's like business is not supposed to be fair. Like, it's never been fair. You have to work like a fucking dog to make that happen. And Imran and so many other people know that. But then we're like bringing it back into this section of, oh, it's like, it's got to be equal and perfect and everything like that. And again, I'm not saying it shouldn't necessarily be like that. I'm just saying I'd like to hear a viable solution. And I can't remember if we get to that or not, but let's keep going.
And that is not healthy for the WordPress ecosystem. Now, here's where it gets emotional, because whenever someone questions the norm, the defensiveness is instant. After my first video about WordPress Cliques went out, I got messages from lots of people who were not named, weren't even implied inside of the video, but they felt the need to defend themselves because they kind of felt like I was attacking the community or what they stand for or their podcast. No, I wasn't. I was pointing out patterns. But in WordPress, criticism often gets treated like hostility. And
that's true. Yeah, I mean, I think there should be as inclusive as it is, there is a level of, man, there's a lot of motifs in here. There's a level of, some people are really open to criticism, but again, I would kind of go back, none of these things actually have answers. They're just all thoughts. It's like, you can't expect, and I'm not saying Imran's doing this, I'm just saying in general, like you can't, if you're going to criticize somebody, you have to like criticize them healthily, I don't know, whatever, like empathetically, right? You don't want to just like shit on somebody. That's not going to help you. That's not going to help them. You want it to be like constructive and productive criticism. And even then it is difficult sometimes. And it's really, here's when it's the most difficult. It's when you're pretty sure XYZ happens and you're like, man, I really think that we should go like ABC on this instead or whatever, right? And you really carefully and empathetically deliver that feedback. And then they're still like, no, I don't think that's good. And you're like, I tried. You know what I mean? I tried to tell somebody that this was the way that I really think it should be. This is how I think, this is how a lot of people think it should be. And then they're still like, no. It's like, that is annoying. And then sometimes people react with that with being like, more angry. So I do feel that. But, again, when we're making kind of like vague stuff here, it is kind of difficult. It's like, who are we actually talking about? Because we're not giving like specific examples of stuff. So then we're literally what happens with vague stuff is that the person watching it has to interpret. And if they have to interpret, they're probably going to interpret the worst possible thing because they have to. There's no specificity. So it's pros and cons to not being specific.
The argument is always, we're protecting the community from negativity. But criticism isn't negativity.
That's true.
Criticism is how we improve. If we label every honest critique as toxic, we create a bubble where only praise is allowed. And you know what happens with bubbles? They burst. Now, in my video, I mentioned diversity, and I've had people contact me about that. And yes, WordPress is diverse. We've got people from all over the world contributing. That is a big strength of our community. But a lot of people misunderstood what I meant by diversity. Diversity isn't just about race, religion, or gender. It's about diversity of thought, of skills, of approach. And let's be honest here, bias still exists. I know this personally. I've had emails where people have told me directly that my name or my background made them less likely to take me seriously or work with me. That's not WordPress's fault, but it is part of the wider industry that we are in. And when I say diversity needs to be broader, I'm not ignoring the progress that's been made. I'm saying let's keep going. Let's not assume we're done.
Okay, well, that's a whole section there. I don't know if anybody's assuming that we're done, so I'm not really sure the point on that. I think any sound-minded individual thinks like nothing is ever done effectively, in that regard. Like you can always get better. So I haven't seen that. The other thing though is like, diversity in terms of thought, like that's definitely valid, but at the same time, it's like, I'm not really I'm gonna have to infer. Okay, I don't know. Like I know that Imran, as an example, makes a lot of like Elementor content, right? And I know that everybody's like Elementor versus Bricks versus Etch, all this other stuff, right? And everybody has their preferred builder. The pros and the cons of this is like literally baked into this system is clique stuff around the tools that you use, which in reality you probably shouldn't get emotional over your tools, but in practice, you can actually like really understand how somebody would get emotional to some degree over the tool that they use to potentially build their livelihood through or use as a way to build their livelihood, right? Like either you're using somebody else's tool or you're building a tool that is your livelihood, right? If you're the developer of one of these things. So, the trouble is that, we are human. And even though that we try to sometimes, I feel like a lot of like be objective, be logical, emotion is gonna rear its head like right into there. And the point that like Imran is making about biases, again, we're talking about human shit here. Like this is human. This is why I love psychology, human behavior, and all this because it's literally unsolvable. I don't know how you solve any of this, like unless over time like evolution solves some of these issues. It's almost impossible. You're going to have biases. And again, this isn't a dig at Imran or anybody specifically, but like if you use a tool, you're inherently biased and it's inherently like your thought process that you're dispensing onto your viewers. And it's like, it doesn't matter what the tool is. If you use XYZ, now the people that watch you are going to be inherently biased towards that because that's the tool that they're using. And, I think we do have a fair diversity of people that use all these different tools, and you can find content on all these different tools. And if you want to go into these different realms, then you can do that. And if you want to get into different thought processes about how to build websites, there is a lot out there. So, not sure if I fully agree with it. That was, again, that was kind of an interesting section. It seemed like we're not there. We're going to keep going. But honestly, I felt like that was a little bit too pessimistic of a take there. I feel like it was. I feel like it's actually pretty good, but maybe that's totally dependent upon who you talk to.
I need to repeat this. I'm not doing this for attention. I've had people assume that because I'm vocal, I must be chasing clicks or controversy. But here's the reality. I don't need to. My YouTube channel is strong. My courses do well. My lifestyle is comfortable. My mortgage is paid off. I have other income streams.
Again, I like the flex there. Honestly, truly, I'm not being sarcastic at all. And I don't doubt that either. I don't doubt that this isn't a publicity play. Imran has more than enough content that that I know that he knows that he can continue to put out there. And again, he's got a solid audience. So I don't think but this is, again, just to go kind of like, I don't know, different on it. There's a level like, when I see it even, and I'm not even at the level. It's like when you start like digging in so deeply and you think about the value they're providing from a technical side, I think most empathetic, compassionate, caring humans, introspective humans, they effectively go to the point of, this isn't about fucking tools. Okay. This is about people. And I appreciate and applaud Imran for like being vocal about this stuff, because this is what I like to do as well. So we're on the same wavelength on a lot of it. I just feel like the solution side of it, or like the actual reality of it, I don't know if there's always going to be a solution for every problem that we have. Maybe I'm a little pessimistic in that way, but I just feel like I feel like a better way to deal with it is to try to play the game a little bit more, rather than completely change the game, or at least educate people on how to play the game, and then say, if you don't want to play this game, then go topple the board or something like that. Like I don't know if I'm interpreting it properly, but that's what I'm
don't
feeling.
Need drama to survive. But what I've always done when I was in the NHS, when I've worked with people throughout my entire life, all I want is fairness. I want someone starting today to feel like they have a shot at being seen. And I know how hard that is, because I've been there. I've been overlooked. I've had my ideas ignored. And I don't just mean in WordPress. I mean in life. I've seen smaller creators struggle to get noticed, while bigger names are going to soak up all the attention. That is...
Okay, I fully get this, and I'm happy that it was articulated in that way. I understand what we're saying here. I don't think I would classify myself as a large creator at 6,000 subscribers on YouTube, especially when we're watching one with 150,000 subscribers. But I don't feel like that. Okay, we're gonna get really to the heart of this. I don't feel like I almost feel like that is propagating some level of like victimhood. We're borderline, not fully, but I do. I don't think that is a sustainable, productive way to think. If you are somebody, it's almost like we'll use Imran as the example just because he's the one talking. He worked so hard to get to 150,000 subscribers. I know this, and he's probably going to get to 1 million if he keeps up. Okay, and he's saying that he wants everything to be fair. Everything is fair, okay? It's fair. You can go on the internet and you can publish videos for free until your fingers literally fall off, okay? What's not fair, and these words are kind of like wishy-washy, it does take time. It takes energy. It's mind-numbing to me at this point, though. It's like, if 150,000 subscribers is worth anything, it wouldn't be fucking easy to get to 150,000 subscribers. And it wouldn't be, like, the opportunity to get there would not be completely, like, easy and completely ubiquitous. Like, not everyone is going to be the president of the United States. Not everyone is going to be the richest person on earth. Like, this is really where it falls apart for me. Like, I'm trying to really wrap my head around it. and there's whole like equity, equality stuff. Like, I get it, but like, I'm still not sure of the solution. We are, this is like far almost removed from WordPress at this point, I feel like. And using it, and but even using WordPress as the example is such a bad example because it's so much easier than it's actually being portrayed. Like, there's only like 20 people, like maybe 50 people that I feel like are putting out like content that is like super, I'm not gonna say good. I'm just saying like it's like there's not that many. There's not like you go outside and some people don't even know what WordPress is, even though it's 43% of the internet. You know what I mean? Like it's not. I just don't have the same perspective here. I'm really trying to understand it. And yeah, the fairness thing just kind of numbs my mind. It's like I also truly believe that if things are like easy like that, again, they're not worth it. Some of them are not like if hard achievements are worth it because they're hard. Because they take time, because they take energy. Let's go back to it.
This is why I speak up. Not for me, for them. Technically, anyone can apply to speak at a WordCamp, but it was nice
What did that say?
to see
Sorry,
them
I wasn't
setting
looking
up
at the
like a
screen.
podcast at the recent WordCamp US. Now, while bigger in WordPress, I mean in life, I've seen smaller creators struggle to get noticed, while bigger names are going to soak up all the attention. That is why I speak up. Not for me, for them. Technically,
Again, new people feel inferior.
anyone can apply
I need to know who that is.
to speak at a WordCamp, but it was nice to see them setting up like a podcast at the recent WordCamp US. Now, anyone can pitch themselves for that podcast, but in reality, when you have the same names dominating, newcomers may feel like they're crashing someone else's party.
All right, this is where I'm getting a little like, all right, we need to set some records here. Okay, I was literally a part of this creator studio thing. If this is what we're talking about, like I was one of a handful of people that like actually knew that this was going to be happening, and those spots were full in, I don't know, like a day or two or whatever. And it was the first time they ever did something like this. I'm assuming we're talking about this, right? And anybody could go do this stuff. So like, I don't even know what we're talking about when we say like inferior. What I need to hear more.
I know people who have said, I want to apply, but I didn't think I was good enough. I didn't feel like.
Look, this is a fundamental, this is a mental thing, okay? That is abundantly, without a doubt, like a personal issue. Like if you don't feel worthy, I'm not saying that's where you should stay, but that you have to, like, you will never get over that. I literally have struggled with this. You will never get over that until you get over that yourself. That is 100% a personal issue. I can sit here and I can prophesize to you until I'm blue in the face that you are worthy, you are enough, you're the baddest motherfucker in the world. If you don't actually believe that, you will not ever actually believe it and live up to that. Really the best way, the only real way to do that is to just start posting shit or start building shit or whatever. Again, this is one of those things where it is equally as dangerous to make things incredibly gatekept, like gatekept, okay? It is equally as dangerous to make the floodgates just completely open and have no barrier of entry whatsoever. You have to be in the middle. Like it has to be in the middle. If you let anyone say anything at any time, I'm not saying like free speech shit, like yes, but if you gave the same amount of attention. Again, this doesn't even need to be described. This doesn't even need to be explained because this is how human behavior works. We are flowing naturally to the things that we find educational or entertaining or exciting. It's very simple. If you want the attention, you have to create one of those emotions in people. And if you're not getting that attention, then you just fucking figure it out and you continue to work and try until you do. That's all it is. It's in every aspect.
I belonged. You know, the whole imposter syndrome. And WordPress isn't unique in that. Every industry has it. But if we're serious about inclusion, we have to actively counter it. Even something as small as selfies at WordCamps. Scroll through, you're going to see the same faces again and again and again. Now, for someone new, that can feel quite intimidating. It looks like a closed circle, even though I know it's not meant to be. And I'm not having a go at anyone that does selfies, but can you see the point that I'm...
I don't understand a solution for that. Are we supposed to just go around and WordCamp just start taking selfies with random people? I will also say this, okay? Not every human is built the same. I am extremely open, okay? Not everyone is like that, especially in this industry. There's a lot of people that want to sit at their computer and dev, and that is the main fulfillment piece of their lives, okay? And they do a fantastic job, okay? That is not me entirely, okay? I like that to a degree, but it's not. So like, it's almost like when you really get to the core of that, it's almost like forcing this idea of, oh, we want to bring you into the limelight in a sense. I'm not saying that maybe Imran isn't saying like physically start taking selfies with people, but like, it's like, what are we doing now? It's like a reverse authoritative thought in a way. It's kind of confusing. Is there a solution here? I don't.
making here?
Agreement circles protect.
And here's my
models.
final issue that kind of rarely gets mentioned. Agreement circles. Like what? What are you talking about? Sometimes people only surround themselves with those who nod along. Why? Because disagreement threatens
It's real. That's a real thing.
their business model. Web accessibility is a great example. I've shared free, detailed content about accessibility because I believe in sharing knowledge openly, and I've had pushback from many accessibility experts. Not because what I shared was wrong or completely wrong, but because it undercut their sales funnels. And the counter argument I get a lot is, but people need to make a living. Of course they do. But making a living shouldn't mean silencing other perspectives or discouraging free knowledge.
I feel like there was 2 points there. With the accessibility stuff, like if we're saying like, I don't know, if we're saying like here's a solution to the accessibility stuff, like one of the overlays or something like that, and then Imran comes in and says, well, you could use that, but you could also just like do it the right way, like dev it the right way, so you don't need a lot of this stuff. How are we getting mad at that? Like who are we getting mad at here? Like that is another way to do something, and it's honestly like objectively like a better way to do it if you can do it at the root rather than kind of like putting a facade over something. So look, again, I feel like there's a lot of, not just in this video, but like I feel like there's a lot of like, oh, we're saying there's problems or we're pointing out things that people are doing. But you know what, man, sometimes you just got to realize that not every human communicates perfectly. You know what I mean? Not every human thinks perfectly. Not every human is like, regardless if it's WordPress or whatever, not every human is going to like process a situation and think about it in a way, like they're going to process it. And most of the time they're going to think of it and process it and interpret it in a way that's going to benefit them. And the stuff that's going to come out of their mouth next is going to benefit them, right? Which is exactly what like, why, like, yeah, you undercut my business. It's like, well, no shit, you're pissed off about that. Like you would be pissed off about that, but you could also be wrong. I mean, you could also be objectively like, well, what's the solution? There's no need to be like, that's not a situation. This is, again, business. That's not a fairness issue. I'm not saying Imran's making it a fairness issue. I'm actually saying like the example he's talking about here is like, that's literally the most normal thing I've ever heard in my life. Somebody has something, a product, something like that, and then somebody else says, okay, actually, that's not the best way to handle this situation. So here's another product or here's something for free that handles it. And then they're like, okay, well, maybe they should have just done that first and they should have sold that. This is obviously a generalized situation of a nuanced topic, but again.
Knowledge. That is not how open source thrives. So let me pull all of this together. WordPress isn't broken, but it can be better. We can have podcasts.
Can obviously be better. Everything can always be better.
That serve the wider community and not just the insiders. We can have WordCamp.
Not sure what that means. Podcasts, anybody can watch any podcast at any time. Maybe we're talking about like information. I'm mixed on this. I mean, there's a lot of information out there. And it's not, this isn't like it's an evolving thing for sure, like with the new evolvements, but there's like an abundance of information, and then there's simultaneously like everything is already out there. It's a whole different topic that I'm not going to go into, but like I don't get that. I don't understand what we're talking about. Just the insiders. There's not podcasts that are specifically talking about whatever. And I didn't really articulate this perfectly earlier. What are we trying to do with that statement? Are we saying that we want to bring in like random people off the street, so to speak, or off the streets of WordPress in a podcast? Because I think some people do that to some degree. But again, I will reiterate this for the 19th time. Not everyone is a content creator. Not everyone is a communicator. Not everyone is a podcast guest. So it's like the reason that this happens is because the goddamn bubble is small. Okay. So there's not that many people to pull from. Like, yeah, there's devs and stuff like that, but like, there's just so many more nuances to this. Like, you have a podcast. Like, do you want people to listen to it? Do you not want people to listen to it? Like, who am I going to get on the podcast? Should I get people that are actually going to be like, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you had a podcast and you brought on 100 people that nobody gave a shit about, you would no longer have a podcast because nobody's going to listen to it, and you're going to burn out and you're not going to do it. Like, and Imran would tell you this. He would say he is creating content that he knows people want to watch. Maybe not every single piece of content, obviously, but he's creating things that he wants to create, and then he's brought in the value, and he has 150,000 subscribers because of it. It makes total sense. I learned so much from him, and it's like I'm just kind of like trying to piece together these things here, and I agree with a lot of it. It's just like the solution part of it. I'm not fully grasping.
That balance community and learning. We can respect authority without silencing newcomers. We can promote real quality.
I need examples of who's silencing newcomers, though. Like, I really need examples of that. Specific examples with the understanding and the agreed understanding that a newcomer is inherently going to know less than somebody that's been doing it. I'm not saying the person that has more experience is 100% right. But again, if somebody comes in and says, and is like you ever deal with somebody that's like extremely confident and egotistical without knowing anything? Like, if they came in and they were like, oh, this is how you do this, right? I'm trying to think of an example. It's like, the best way to set up WordPress, bar none, every single time is, with permalinks set to that shit that has random numbers, whatever, random post, whatever it is. And it's like, everybody and their mother would be like, that has more experience and has tried that for 5 minutes. It's going to tell you, you should probably just do post name, bro. And then like, they're like, you know what I mean? Like, that would be an example of like somebody that's like a newcomer that in that specific instance, no, that's not adding value. So I'm not saying it's always like that, because there is an idea of perspective, that like a new perspective, fresh perspective. I actually I feel like I'm a living example a little bit of this, because I came into this as like a younger person, and I'm trying to, think about like how we can make this a little bit more interesting for younger people, or more like some other platforms that, don't have the level of maturity, but do have a good user base. And it's, I don't know, it's not a bad thing, but it's also not like, you don't just give the keys to the kingdom to some random person and be like, yeah, do whatever the hell you want.
And not just familiar names. We can accept criticism without overreacting. We can expand diversity to mean more than just demographics. We can help new people feel like they belong. And we can probably resist agreement circles that protect business models. Instead of a community. Cliques exist. They always will.
Bingo.
But if we want WordPress to stay open, innovative, and truly inclusive, then we need to admit it. And we need to commit to doing better. That's not negativity. That's just honesty. And if that honesty makes some people uncomfortable, maybe that's the clearest sign that this conversation needed to happen.
Is that it? Yeah. I think, first of all, everybody should go subscribe over to Imran, okay? Everybody needs to go over there and check him out. You should follow his content, okay? I appreciate, Imran, if you're watching this, you're still watching this like 50 minutes in here. Appreciate everything you've done. Appreciate all the wisdom that I've gotten from your channel, all the stuff you've done for the community. Again, 150,000 subscribers, absolutely nothing to scoff at. One of the top WordPress channels ever. Okay. So flowers, 100%. Props. And props for this video. Because again, I appreciate this conversation. I think it's important. Again, I said it multiple times. I feel like there's so many things to glean from these points here. I just feel like at the end of the day, we are moving forward. Like I don't see us moving backwards. I don't see it getting worse, but I have a different perspective, I guess, as well. Um, if there was one strong thing that I kind of like disagree with in this video, at a high level, and what I would love, again, I'm happy to have a conversation or whatever with anyone at any time. The one thing I would really push back on though is that if you don't go to WordCamps, this isn't just aimed at Imran, it's aimed at anybody. Like if you don't go to WordCamps, if you don't go into the rooms where the things are happening, but then you hold the opinions that you or whoever can't get in, like can't be a part of the conversation, don't really think that's a solid argument. I really don't. Because if you it's literally like, because in a different perspective, even though this might not be the perspective that if you do that you hold, the literal interpretation is that you are not giving the effort. You are not providing the effort to go to even, local stuff or, whatever continent whoever we're talking about is on, right? Like if you're in the United States, like you got to at least go to the US. If you're in Europe, go to Europe. Like they're in the big three continents here, like, or the big three areas of the world, right? Like if you're not in those rooms, you're not making an effort to go there. The easy counter argument, and don't let, and what I'm saying is don't let people make this counter argument. Just go, because the easy counter argument is you weren't there. So it's like, what are we talking about here? Why are we? If you're not there, how are we, like? I don't want to say complaining, but how are we bringing up points when we weren't in? We weren't even trying to be in the city that these things are happening in. When I think of a WordCamp and I'm in WordPress, I think it's like, wow, that's an incredible opportunity. There's going to be a ton of people that I admire, I respect, I have learned from. I mean, again, I was just there. Like it actually really dawned on me this time. So many people that I've been watching and talking to and reading about, or reading their stuff or whatever for the last 7 years. Like I found them 7 years ago, like Imran, like so many other people, like so many of them were at a city, at a venue, in the same hotel, in the same place. I could just walk down and have a conversation with them. You know what I mean? It's like, how are you not going to take that opportunity? And if you don't take that opportunity, then and I understand everybody's situation is not the same. Okay. I'm not telling you to fly from fucking, Asia to the United States for WordCamp US. You can't afford that. Okay. And that's not what I'm saying. Like there's opportunities again in the big three areas, right? Asia is going to be in Mumbai. If you can make it there, go there, right? That's my perspective. Okay. Again, I appreciate everything Imran's done. I appreciate everything everyone's done that I've learned from in this community. And now I'm just trying to give a little bit more perspective on my end too, because I am now in the situation where I have a little bit of a voice in this, and I'm the same way. Like I want everybody else to prosper as well. Every single time somebody reaches out to me or asks me, like I try to help them, and I try to tell them, encourage them to make content or make videos or whatever they want to do. But I'm not going to sugarcoat this. This shit is not easy. Not saying it's not that you shouldn't do it, but the same reason I said this when I started my own businesses. I was like, I know this isn't going to be easier than a job. I know it, but it's probably going to be more fulfilling, and it's probably going to be easier to sustain, because I'm not going to hate my life every single day because I'm doing something that I don't love doing, or I don't, isn't fulfilling to me. So the only thing those are the big things that I would push back on or have some main feedback on. I know I've talked for an hour here, but those are the main things. Is you gotta make an attempt to be in those rooms, even if you don't think about it. Because again, let me do one more story, okay? You'll see this in the recap content, but if you're still here, maybe you appreciate a story. I've heard terrible things about Contributor Day. Okay, I've heard it's stupid, shouldn't go, whatever. I went to Contributor Day. My thoughts are now changed a little bit. Maybe they're not completely changed, but my point is, like, when we talk about things in second person, and it's like, if we've never been to the so-and-so, if we've never done something, then like, do we really have a true perspective on that? I try to live my life now moving in that direction where it's like, somebody said that so-and-so builder is terrible. It's like, well, I've never used so-and-so builder, so I can't really render an opinion on that. You know what I mean? So that type of thing, right? I think that's something to consider. I think that's something to think about. These are all human issues though, at the end of the day. There's a lot of human stuff here. Trying to fix this in WordPress is like trying to fix literally every single human in the world. We're just like we're just zoning in on WordPress. Um, I don't know. Again, I'm gonna leave it there. I've talked for long enough. I could talk about this forever because I really do love these types of conversations. Imran, I appreciate you giving me the go ahead to make this in the comments of that video. Really appreciate you. I do want to make that extremely clear. Nothing about this was like personal or dramatic in any sort of way. Just sharing my opinions. If you watch this, if you enjoyed it, if you have any comments, again, if you liked or disliked this, show me down below. If you literally disagree with everything I said, let me know down below. I'm open to criticism. I'm open to everything, but I'm not going to stop talking because I have these opinions and I want to continue to learn, try and share everything that I do and grow alongside you guys. So that's what I got. Hope you appreciated it. I will talk to you in the next one.